Let's handle publishing our main mod to Maven. Hello everyone, this is Ali Raza. Welcome to the Mentor Code Lab. In previous episode, I mentioned that in our main mods build.gradle, we need to handle publishing to Maven. So let's copy that from Fabric API, paste it, and then see what we are missing here or what we need to change. So we are publishing, again, Maven Java, Maven publishing, and artifact. Okay, this is remapped jar, and here we are using remap jar, source jar, JavaDocs, and we don't have test mod there. Now we call our methods add POM metadata information. Remember we had that before, okay? And we are sending the root project here and the POM. Then we are making a list of dependencies for each sub project. We get if it's deprecated or it contains the name, we are returning. Basically, we are saying the Maven BOM contains all of the deprecated modules is added manually below. So where is that? Let's see. It's here. So anytime that we have a deprecated file, we will add them manually. Well, guess what? We don't have any deprecations. So here we just remove that part. All we want, we say that, hey, if metadata, then return. We just don't want to handle anything related to metadata. Then we say, hey, from each project, get the group, get the name, and get the sub-project version, and the scope is compiled. Then we say, hey, this group equals to group, this version equals to version. Then we are making the XML POM, and we are adding the dependencies. Again, group ID, artifact, version, and scope. So that's it. Now, if I uncomment this, I should be able to resync the Gradle. And it did resync. Actually, I will remove that one. It's part of the publication. So now we go for the setup repositories in our API page. We are at line 674 in the Fabric API, although we dropped the testing, so we are 537 here. And let's face it, we still have job to do. So we are early on in the video. Let's continue forward. For each sub-project, we are checking if we are a meta project, then move forward. But saying remap jar depends on the sub-project remap jar. So what we are doing here, set up order of operation for remapped jar. Order of operation here is like this. This piece of code is being executed in the main glibs build.gradle. So it says that basically go inside each sub-project, finish its remapped jar first, because we are depending on them. So our remapped jar task depends on the sub-project remap jar. Basically, if we are building our project, it will wait until every sub-project is being built, remapped, then we will move for our finish task here, and we will end things there. Then we have another section, and again, that's related to game tests, so I will bypass it. Then you have this dependencies section, and remember, this is happening again on the main project, and it says after evaluation for each sub-project, if they are meta, bypass. Other than that, make this current project do an API dependency on that sub-project, and do the same thing for the client implementation. We don't have test mods, so bypass that. By doing this, we are depending the main project to every single sub-project. And we don't need to hard code the names because here we are using a loop and it will find every sub-project. So that's clean and easy. Let's copy this command, paste it, set up sub-project dependency on main. Then again, we have the same configuration for nested jars here. And we say we don't want nested jar transitiveness, and another dependency this time that says for each sub-project, if it is inside dev only modules or it's a meta project bypass, then set the nested jars for those projects. Now, this dev only modules should be defined somewhere, and that's on top here. Okay, so we say dev only modules equals to, right now it's empty because this will be used for any test mod. So we say this will be used for game test and client game test modular projects. Basically, if we ever have two projects, one for, I don't know, game test and then the client game test. Then we will add them here. And what we are saying is that, hey, please ignore them. Okay. So if we are one of those tests or we are metadata, return. Otherwise, add submodules to be a nested jar. That's what we are doing here. Then we have this remapped jar. What this line is doing is saying that when you are running that remapped jar on the main file, go and collect every remapped jar inside what I defined as nested jars first, combine them and put them inside this remapped jar at the end. Basically, in other words, we are saying that, hey, go on, other than the meta projects and what we are ignoring, do the remap jars, collect them, then do my remap jar, and then nest those remap jars inside this remap jar. Because when we are building the glibs library as a single jar, we want the jar in jar implementation. So we are collecting every submodule, putting them inside the final jar file so that this single jar file contains everything. Basically, this is a way to do the jar in jar without using the mod include, okay? And in my opinion, a nice one. Now, this section is again related to JavaDocs, and let me copy this because this is not related to dependencies anymore, and we are saying that file name sanity check. Now, what's going on here is that we will make sure that we don't have same names for two files inside our whole library class. The reason is that when we are making a fat jar, if we have, for example, class A here and class A here, the JavaDoc on a fat version will be confused. Which one of these class A files should be used and addressed? Because of that, we want to make sure in the whole project, we don't have even two classes that use the same name. So we say that check no duplication files in a zip. We are getting every nested jar. Then we make a test directory. From the nested jars, we collect the zip tree and then exclude meta-inf and then exclude fabricmod.json. Then we say that check depends on this guy. You may say, hey, where did we compare the file names? Because we are trying to zip, if we have two files that has the same name, this section automatically will fail the check. However, remember, we are excluding the meta-inf, we are excluding the fabricmod.json because let's face it, every one of these will have a file with the same name of fabricmod.json. Okay, that's the sanity check. Now comes an interesting part that will need a little bit of tweaking later on, and that is publishing to websites. I will copy this. I will talk about it. We will have to tweak it in another video because right now I'm so close to finishing the build.gradle, and this thing is not my first priority, especially for a library mod. I may even comment it, but I want to have it there because later when I'm working on my main mods like Ultra.io or others, this is an interesting thing to have. So what we are doing here is that we are using the sign remap jar. Well, if I recall, we will use remap jar. Then we have a change log, and if we have this change log file, otherwise we have no change log provided. Now let's see if we can find that change log. Just to take a look at something. So we have a contributing, and as I see, we don't have any change log anywhere. I think we don't have it. So change log, maybe? No. We don't. And I assume it is there, but it is something that is ignored and it will not be published to GitHub. So it's a local file on their hard drive. To make it work, we have this header. So I will copy it, the name of changelog. I will hit Control D. I will hit Control C, Control V, and then hopefully, no, we can't. Okay, we rename it to changelog. And open matching files and text and okay, it's a text. So I will remove it and keep it as empty. Here we say if we have a change log, then that's the file. And where we are using it, nowhere. Then we say the type of project. If we have the project pre-release equals to true, then it's beta. Otherwise, it's a stable. Here, pre-release equals false. I need to add it here under my mod. So pre-release equals false assumes that we are stable. stable. Okay, so we say if we set it to true, then we are a beta, otherwise we are a stable release. Then display name equals the Minecraft version, Fabric API project version. No, this is glibs. Then we are mod loader assignment. So we are assigning Fabric as mod loader. And here's the thing, dry run. It means that do we have a CurseForge API? Get or no? If we don't have any CurseForge API, so it will become null, then dry run is equal to null. Means that we will not publish to CurseForge, okay? And we will use it somewhere maybe. Actually, I think it's just a plugin and we are setting it so things work internally in that plugin. So CurseForge, yeah, it's a ModMuse plugin. So for CurseForge, again, we are reading the API key, we are hard coding the project ID, and then we say that add this version to the Minecraft version. For the modRint, we are using modRint token and the project ID and again Minecraft version. Then for GitHub, we have GitHub token, and this is the GitHub repository, and get or else Fabric and MC dry run and commitish equals to GitHub reference name get or else dry run. I need to sit back and ask someone about it. However, I'm fairly sure if I ever want to use it, I need to assign these values from here, and the API keys and token keys, not from the environment variable alone, but again, reading it from a local properties, and this is why I have them here, okay? However, as I said, for a library, I'm not going to publish it. So just remember the assemble of this publishing was being dependent on sign remap, but we want to be on remap jar. Again, as I said, I will select all of these. Actually, why are you yelling at me here? I'm not sure. So I will select all of this and I will put a comment section like that. It's not working. God damn it. What was the other shortcut? Actually, I should be able to select all these lines like so and put a double quotation there. There we go. So I will comment that just because I'm not going to use it here, but it's nice to have. Now, the last part is just a sanity check again. So I will copy this guy. I will paste it here and I will say release version sanity check. We had something close to this on our main mod, but let's take a look. And by the way, I think this thing is not being used, the stream collectors, and I'm not sure why it's there inside the Fabric API. Maybe in future they will use it, but not used. So what we are doing here, we say that first of all, the task publish mods depend on this check version. Well, guess what? We commented that, and publish must run after check version. So whenever we are publishing our mod, either to local Maven or to Maven or anywhere else, we are doing this check version. And what we are doing here is that we are defining a URL for the Maven. Then we are using the metadata, and we are checking the versioning. If it's existing, then we are throwing an error. Okay, let's take a look at that Maven repository that I copied somewhere. Okay, it's here, and then project name, blah, 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 blah. So the thing that we want is repc plus. So I can compare it to the one before. Yeah, they are getting this first section on top, and this part is just being added by the code. So Fabric API became glibs. It was Fabric API / and they have two Fabric APIs now at the end. So means that this is the versioning for the project itself and not the top level Maven thing. It should work. I hope it should work. We will see. I will comment it out. Funny, because right now, first of all, I'm not publishing on Maven. So whenever I'm publishing to Maven local, why should I be bothered with this guy? And before I have anything online, I can check it to make sure if it's okay or not. And when I'm publishing to Maven local, if it's behaving, then it's a troublesome thing because I will constantly delete and put things there. Okay, this is the final finished build.gradle, although we have commented sections out of it at the very end, but let's face it, it's exactly what I needed and it's built successfully. So right now, I have everything that I want, and I can't add things before going forward and adding my 2 meta projects. That is happening in the next video. Have fun, everyone. Bye.